All right, listen up, Spuds. This is Zap Brannigan, master of time, space, and everything else in between. And, winner of this year's Modesty Award. You're listening to USUK with Al and Tom. Your one stop for this sort of thing.
Hi guys, welcome to USUK podcast. This is me, Alex Whiteley.
This is me, Tom Bruno.
And
that was strange. That was a strange way for you to say that, by the way. This is me, Alex Whiteley.
And this is me.
In case anyone was convinced or confused that you are not Alex Whiteley. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we should be like, I'm Tom Bruno. And I'll be like, I'm Alex Whiteley. I'd be like, I thought Alex Whiteley was classier and British. Be like, meh, whatever.
Meh. Apologies for last week's episode, by the way, because I'm again. StreamYard are doing this thing now. I guess it's because I keep switching mixes because I've got two mixes now. I've got the one behind me there, which is for the radio, and the one here for the podcast stuff, right? So I'm having to switch back in two. And StreamYard is like, it forgets the devices. And what it did last week's show, it switched it to my laptop microphone. So I sounded like this when I was on there. I was like, fuck.
It happened. Like, it's so funny. Like, you would think like 4 years, like you 4.5 years, me 4 years. You figure that we'd like always think about this stuff, but even people that have been doing it for a while forget this type of stuff. Like we can't expect us to remember everything. It's impossible. It's improbable. It's unlikely.
These things happen, and Moose is doing really, really well. By the way, he's come onto Thor's gear and he's editing episodes. He's doing a great job. But he was having issues with his microphone. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm having issues." I was like, "Dude, it literally happened to me last week. I've been doing this for years. It literally happens to anybody." But hey ho, we're here. How are you been doing, Tom?
Good. I've been good, man. Fuck, it's my birthday tomorrow.
I know.
Fucking 30. You'll get your complimentary dick pic via email like every year. I feel like you just kind of set it on auto send. Like you take like 20 at the beginning of the year and then you set it for calendars. And it's just like, so Tom, this is January, this is December, this is fucking March, this is February. And it's really classy though, because you like put some background to it. I feel like
ribbons.
You're really
fancy ribbons tied around it.
Yeah. Tie a yellow ribbon around the old Alex tree, as they
I got a dicky bow for my dick.
Dicky bow. Fucking so today, because tomorrow is a national holiday in the US. So if you're a good place, like if you work for somewhere that's actually like, cares about their employees, you get the day off tomorrow. It's Martin Luther King Day.
Really?
Which is awesome. Yeah, man. Like it's kind of cool because like my kids are learning about Martin Luther King, and I got really weird when my son mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh, what'd you find out about him?" He's like, "Well, he was a leader in the civil rights." I was like, "Good." And he's like, "And someone shot him." And I was like, "Kind of." I'm like, some coward assassinated him from other buildings. Because if you think about like Lee Harvey Oswald, right? Everybody knows who Lee Harvey Oswald, for the most part, you know who he is. He's the guy who killed JFK. Jack Ruby. Yeah. So if you believe such things, Jack Ruby walks up after Lee Harvey Oswald's convicted and all that stuff and in jail. Walks up, shoots the dude face to face, like bam, and everyone's like, "No, Jack, why?" Like all that type of stuff. But like for a man like Martin Luther King, they had to go like 3 buildings away and assassinate him because they just didn't have the like the hooftas, the cojones to go and do it to his face, which really disappoints me. So I was like, no, man, like they sniped Martin Luther King and they assassinated him. And I had to like clarify a tiny bit because I was like, they didn't just shoot him, dude. Like the man was very, very important. So they give us the day off to commemorate his person, which is awesome because as a kid, I got the day off of school ever so often on my birthday because my birthday falls on Martin Luther King Day. But also because it's a holiday, because I'm going to be at work, I'm celebrating my birthday today in every aspect, except we're going to do cake tomorrow. I don't know why I'm comfortable doing everything
Is that
else.
like a sacred thing? No. This happens on your birthday. But we're gonna have a funeral today. No. We're gonna have cake.
No.
Cake. We're gonna have cake.
Fucking who cares? That motherfucker died. I live. I'm important.
Another year.
1 more year. So I'm gonna go. I had to beg the wife to go watch a movie with me tonight. Not because she doesn't want to spend time with me, because we've been doing a lot more of that actually, which is good for the relationship. But
so you're gonna go see Kingsman?
Yeah, I'm gonna go see Kingsman. No,
you're gonna go see Spider-Man?
No, I'm not going to see Spider-Man, even though that'd probably be a good choice. Don't say that out loud. If Shona finds out that movie's playing, she's going to make me go watch that. I'm going to go see Scream 5. I know. I'm
both not surprised at all. Not, and a little bit. It's one of those things like you put a film up against Spider-Man at any time, it's going to lose, isn't it? Unless it's your shit. Which Scream is definitely your shit.
Well, it's like this. Like, okay, so Scream's very important to me. Like, it was one of the first like horror movies that ever made me excited to see horror movies. That came out in '96. Like, I was 8 years old, and I didn't even know what Scream was about. But I heard about Scream because my best friend growing up, his mom was really responsible and let him watch every movie that she ever watched growing up. So he saw Scream before me, and he was trying to explain it to me, and I didn't get it. So then like we rented it like 2 weekends later, and you know what that's like, man. Like you rent a movie with your friend, when we used to rent movies at the movie store, and like you get home, you're super, dude, good times, man, great times. And we'd like throw it on and we watched the movie, and then you had something, you had a little bit of knowledge that not everybody had, because like not everybody's parents let them watch horror movies at that age. So I love the franchise. I've seen every single one of them, and like I was really surprised that my local theater is carrying it. It's a very small theater, like it's tiny, dude. And I think there's like 4 screens or something, and one of them is gonna have fucking Scream on it. So I was like, I'm gonna go watch that. So I asked the wife, I was like, hey, you're gonna go watch Scream with me, right? And she's like, I don't really like scary movies, because she lied, by the way. Let's back up 15 years ago when I met my wife, and I was like, yeah, horror movies the shit, right? And she's like, totally is. They're the best. I love horror. I think it is. I think I miss her. She's like, I love horror. So I'm like, yeah, so do I. They're awesome, right? And fucking, so she's gonna
no, so, you didn't. Sorry.
Fucking, so like I'm like, you're gonna go watch with this movie with me, right? And she's like, well, I don't know. And I was like, you're gonna make me invite somebody else to go watch a movie? And she's like, well, it's not like you couldn't find someone to watch a movie. But I was like, yeah, but I want to spend time with you. And she's like, okay. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go watch Scream. So that's what I'm doing. I'm leaving my kids home by themselves. I'm saying, fuck you, take care of yourselves for a few seconds. I'm gonna go watch a movie with the wife. That's what I'm doing, and I'm eating ribs, because that's what I do on my birthday. I used to be a fried shrimp guy. Like every single birthday for like 10 years, I ate fried shrimp because they're fucking delectable. What'd you eat for your birthday? Like when it's your birthday, do you have a meal, like a go-to meal?
I mean, like there've been a few occasions where I like meat. I like, my last birthday we went to Hickory's, which we've spoken about many times before. You can go ribs and I had what did I have?
Didn't you have like giant... Didn't you have like the brisket and the ribs and the pork and like the whole kit and caboodle?
No, I had a giant fucking rib thing I had for my birthday. That's like my favorite thing. That's a good novelty. Like barbecue food for me is it's just so brilliant. It's my favorite thing.
Fucking so like would you like, because okay, so like where you live, you obviously have like a backyard. If I'm see, the problem is like I get your old place, your new place kind of like mixed up. Do you have a backyard right now?
I don't, but we have what's called the Rebrook right in our doorstep. So we don't have a garden, but there's a giant area of rivers and meadows and trees and all sorts on our back door. So,
ooh, is it like Sherwood Forest? Is that where you live? Are you Robin Hood?
It is. You got to be careful which area you sort of walk around with the kids, because you might get mowed down by pikemen. Some spears right for you.
All I know about Sherwood Forest is you don't hunt the king's deer there. I've seen enough movies that I know what happens when you shoot the king's deer. You get in trouble. Speaking of movies that you probably don't agree with, I watched Hotel Transylvania 4 last night with the kids. Dog shit.
Right. Dog shit. I was going to say, like these films, when they get sequelized, it's almost like you know when you're making cordial or juice with water. You know, you put too much water in, and it just tastes like water. That's what I imagine these films are getting like.
Put it this way: like Adam Sandler, who says yes to everything that'll make him a buck, and I'm not gonna begrudge him on the fact. Like I appreciate the man wants to make money. Good for him. He's not in it. And neither is fucking his best friend there, Kevin. What's his last name? The big guy. What's his name? The big guy that was on Mall Cop and all that shit.
Oh, not Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith, yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith. No, the other Kevin. The comedian dude. He's also friends with Joe Rogan. I can't remember what the fuck his name is. Anyways, he's not in it, and you can really tell. Like my kids didn't care, my wife didn't care, but like. I don't know, but here's the very funny thing. Like we made it through the whole movie, and I'm watching with the kids. They're enjoying it. That's the important part, right? It doesn't really matter if I like Hotel Transylvania 4. It matters that the kids like it. We get to the end of the movie, and they did one thing that was really clever. They have a show on Amazon for Hotel Transylvania, which is a cartoon, and they actually like kind of turned because it's like a like a 3D animated movie, right? So they turned it from that when they like the daughter's like, oh, we made a few adjustments, and they open the door into the cartoon. So they're kind of like, hey, we're going to continue the show. We're not going to make any more movies, but we're going to do the show, which is how we're going to continue this story, which is cool. But the amazing part is we're watching the credits, and like there's this big screen, and all of a sudden everyone stops paying attention, and I see Tom Bruno, fucking head layout designer. I'm like, whoa! But I fucking paused that shit, and everyone's like, does that say Tom Bruno? I was like, yeah, it fucking does. So like, I'm gonna reach out to this dude and be like, hey,
get him on the show, man. Fucking let's do
it. He spells it the same way. So I'm like, bro, Tom Bruno. Why don't you fucking
hold on a second. How else would you spell brute?
There's a French way. Breau something.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Like Buena Vista.
Bruno.
Okay,
Bruno. Yeah.
It was Kevin James who you were talking about, by the way.
Yes, Kevin James. There we go. That's the guy. Not Kevin Smith. So Kevin James and Adam Sandler are neither in the film, and you can really tell. So it's kind of like, if they don't want to be a part of it, what's that say about the story? And neither is Andy Samberg. Andy Samberg passed, but everybody else came back.
So what we're gonna, I will get back to this because I've watched a couple of things as well. But while we're doing this, I am going to be talking with Andy about our first cars.
Okay.
So I'm saving pictures. There's a few people on the group messaging as well. What was your first car? I'm going to get a picture of it.
My first car was a Nissan Quest van, 1996, 90. It was like a not turquoise. It was like a forest green Nissan Quest van. It was dope as fuck. It was so dope. Like I picked it because I didn't pick it. My parents gave it to me. But like I enjoyed it.
Oh my god! Like okay, all right, okay. No, I like it. I like it.
Don't judge. Like the first car I got though, like pull this up too because I need some no.
We're gonna wait till Andy's here to do this.
Yeah. I'm not saying pulled up. I'm saying like pulled up on your screen and get it ready. It's 1993 Ford Thunderbird 5.0. It was red. It was dope as fuck. That car was fast.
So 1993.
1993
Ford
Thunderbird. Yeah, that's it. Because like we don't, because we're Americans and it's like the Thunder Cougar Falconberg. Fuck it, that's how we name cars over here. Name after hot ass animals. I was having a talk.
Americans, you have the same sort of like all the cars look the same.
Wow.
And I'll explain more about this in a second. But yeah,
that's car racism, Alex.
Car racism. That's car racism. Oh god. Okay, so
did you watch Book of Fett? Did you continue watching?
So today, I was going to spend. I opened up my laptop, plugged it in. So fuck, because I woke up at like 11 o'clock. I tried to stay up for the NFL playoffs last night, and I fell asleep towards the end of the first game, which was a nightmare. So I didn't actually make it to the Bills Pats game, which I really wanted to watch. Anyway, so I woke up late this morning. Thought, I'm gonna open up my laptop, do some work. I was like, but fuck it, I've got a podcast in night, so I'm going to sit and watch Boba Fett. So I did. I watched episode 2, and I'm halfway through episode 3 now. I found it beautiful, man. I was like, oh my God. Like, the way he tries to understand the culture of the
Raiders,
of the Tuscans, like the way he delicately, like, because he could have gone all fucking Anakin Skywalker on their ass and be like, they're savages, they're backwoods savages, man. I murdered them, the women, the children.
You just fucking mordied that whole thing. You bunch of savages, bunch of backwoods savages. It's fucking hilarious.
And they smell like piss all the time. But he didn't. He understood. He went out of his way to understand their culture, help them, and then try and build like a civilization for him. And it, kind of backfires a little bit.
Plus they were kicking his ass like every single step.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that was awesome. They like I do love that quite a bit. And then he saves the little and spoilers for Book of It. He saves the youngling and he fucking like they accept him into the culture. They teach him how to fight with a bantha stick. Oh, it's fucking cool, man. Like I really dig that. And it's so funny because like the latest episode, I'm not gonna tell you about it because I want you to watch it. But like there's a scene where they're kind of racing through Tatooine on speeder bikes, and like at the end of it I was like, wow, that was so Back to the Future. And my wife's like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, we're on the same page, let's fuck. Can you imagine? It was awesome. Fucking all of a sudden he's like, I hate bantha manure, and he fucking like gets sick or whatever.
Boba Fett looks at, he goes, where are we going? We don't need roads.
Oh my god. He's like, yeah, no shit, it's all sand here, Fett. And he's like, fuck you. And he fucking just shoots him because he's cool like that. You excited for Obi-Wan?
Yes, really excited. The fact that Hayden Christensen is coming back is just amazing. Because he's reprising his role as Darth Vader. Oh,
is he?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's exciting. I mean, like, did you? By the way, really, I know we're jumping all over the place. You've seen who's been like directing all these Book of Fett episodes, right?
Jon Favreau, yeah.
No. He's producing them. No. The director is Robert Rodriguez. Oh, okay. Yeah. Fucking. So that's why it's got this really cool feel to it. It's like very Desperado. Anyways, back to what we were saying. I don't feel like they've missed yet on the latest iterations of like television shows for Star Wars. I don't see a miss. Like, and I was a little disappointed when you were like, yeah, I'm not really, I'm giving it a chance, but I'm not really into Fett yet. I was like, man, but like I truly dig. Don't wrong, you changed. You're obviously now into it, but they haven't missed, which is really impressive because I feel like the Marvel shows kind of hit and miss.
Really? That's a controversial comment to make.
I didn't like. I only got through the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I really like that. I mean, it's a different type of show.
It is. It really is.
But like, what I think, they have different shows of different styles. And what I love about the MCU is, and I will go into this in a bit, because have you watched Eternals yet?
No, I'm saving that. That's one of those movies. Like, the thing is, like, we didn't even make it through Shang-Chi. Maybe I'm going through like a weird phase in my life where I'm just like not into certain things.
Don't appreciate art. I'm joking.
Wow.
Shang-Chi is beautiful, man. I'm joking.
I didn't say it wasn't beautiful. It's not like I'm sitting here being like, Shang-Chi's stupid. We got halfway through it. We were kind of tired. We fell asleep. And so like we didn't finish watching it. So like I do need to finish watching Shang-Chi. I need to watch the Eternals. I saw you defending it though. I was happy about that. Like I love it when you defend things because you don't get shitty about it. You just speak very eloquently about things, and you're like,
oh wow, that's interesting. Eloquent is not a word that's used to describe me that often. So thank you for that, Tom.
You're very welcome. It is. I am celebrating my birthday, so I'm feeling very, gracious and stuff. And
yeah, I don't think I even said happy birthday for tomorrow or today, wherever the fuck you're putting it.
I'm sure I'll get a fucking email or a message from you tomorrow, like I always do, because that's what you and me do. We wait for each other's birthdays to really blow each other. It's like, look, we're so fucking love each other. Oh my god! And then because we do love each other. We've been hanging out for fucking. Never met. We've been hanging out for fucking 3.5 years, 4 years now.
Still don't know what I smell like. Well, our guest is here all the way from Florida.
Oh shit!
This time.
Oh my!
From one side of your country to the other. We're bringing the voice that is Mr. Andy Imhof. Hello.
Oh shit!
What up, boys?
What up,
How's it
buddy?
Going pretty good, man. Going pretty good. We just had a pretty, I don't want to call it like a serious storm come through here, but it was windy, rainy, and made me feel sort of like I was back in Oregon a little bit, except for now it's passing and the sun's out.
Yeah. By the way, fucking let's talk about the weather. So you posted something very funny the other day, which was all your friends want to come to Florida for this reason, and it's because you're the only state right now that's actually in a temperature that's respectable. What's the temperature right there right now, Andy?
Let's see here. It's actually quite low for the part of Florida that we're in. It's 50 degrees.
Oh, the whole 50. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
You better bust out that jacket, bro. It's negative 16 Fahrenheit here right now in Vermont.
That is disgusting. Who chooses to live in that? I don't understand.
I don't know, which is stupid because I'm doing this YouTube thing with Donnie about how we love New England, and in times like this, I really don't want to do the show because I'm like, I don't like New England right now. It's so fucking cold.
For the non-American listeners, by the way, that's minus 26 Celsius. Minus 26.
Dude, it's
Fuck that. Sorry,
Dude,
no.
it's so cold. Like we went to the water park yesterday, and like it's on top of J Peak, on top of a mountain. Like it was really hot inside the water park. It was like 90 something degrees. You know, I'm in a bathing suit, the whole nine. It's awesome. But like
I'm gonna open a window. They're like, no.
No! It was so cold that like the tubes, like the water slide tubes, go outside to kind of wrap back in, and they had to shut down one of them because it started icing over on the inside. So yeah, it was cold.
Dude, could you imagine going down that slide where it's like 80, 90 degrees, and then all of a sudden you hit like an icicle area? What kind of a burn would you get on your ass from that? Where it's just like, ooh, it's
I left
warm.
my scrotum on the
Well, the thing is, like, it's more like ice cuts you. Ice can cut you really bad. I've gotten some pretty bad ice cuts, dude. And because I live in the middle of nowhere, but like I'd be really afraid of like going down. All of a sudden, you like leave a sheer thing of like huge layer of skin off in the thing, and then you can make like a book out of that shit afterwards.
You guys got like a crazy resistance to it, though. I mean, yesterday we were going to go out for a family bike ride, and where our car park is at the back of our building, it's cobbled, right? So it's brick face, sort of cobbled. And we went out, and it was like it's just like a sheet ice, and we were like, nah, we can't do it. And we just didn't go on our bike ride. Whereas
Timmy, get inside and see apocalypse.
It was too dangerous, man, because he is not an accomplished bike rider. So I was like, no, it's too dangerous. Whereas you guys would be like, no, this is what we live for. Yeah.
We make special tires for such a thing, Alex. They actually make for people that are so dedicated for biking. They make tires that are good for like ice and snow. They're like this fucking fat. Like you can ride that shit, bro. I don't because that's stupid, but people can. Andy, really quickly, because Alex has a couple things he wants to accomplish. You, speaking of you living in Florida, you made a big move from Oregon to Florida. Mm-hmm. Fucking. What's that like? Because you and me are Americans, right? We love the travel, we love the drive. Because I've never moved that fucking far. What's that like to pack up everything and like kind of describe like how you went about it and kind of tell us the story of like traveling from where you went to where you are now, if you don't mind.
Well, sure. So first of all, we can start out with the fact that I hated Oregon. I mean, I had for a long time. I was born and raised there, but I always hated it. And so when the opportunity arose to leave, and my wife was like, all right, I want to consider leaving because it's just things are getting weird there. The taxes are totally out of control. I mean, Oregon's paying $1 more a gallon for gas than almost any other state. I mean, you can go down to California, pay $5-6 a gallon. I paid $5.25 a gallon for gas in our motorhome, getting 7.5-8 miles to the gallon. So it was almost $1 a gallon to drive through California. California is a total loss, by the way. I mean, now I know why Gavin Newsom just keeps letting it burn down every wildfire season, because it's a total loss. Like that's honestly, that is the comprehensive plan that Oregon, California, and Washington have to combat COVID. They're going to get rid of COVID by just letting the entire West Coast burn to the ground. Like that, I'm convinced that's what they're trying to do now.
Sounds reasonable.
You know, when we made the decision that we were going to move, we decided right off the bat, we're not taking a bunch of our stuff with us. All the furniture is going to get sold. a huge quantity of my tools got sold. You know, my mechanic shit. So my cherry picker and my engine stands and a couple of my jacks. I kept one jack. I did keep my welder. I kept one tool cart. I kept one small air compressor. It wasn't my like portable air compressor, but it wasn't my big dual stage tank. I went ahead and sold that. I was like, fuck it, I'll just replace it if I need to. You know, we didn't even have a house lined up. Keep in mind, we bought our motorhome because we knew we were going to be moving and then living. So I bought something a little bigger. It's a Winnebago 36 foot. It's got the Chevy 496, last of the big blocks, 8.1 liter Vortec.
No,
that's
now when you approach that, when your wife's like, so why do we need this? Because I want a bango, and then she's like, oh, okay, I get it. It's just for the joke, right? You don't buy it for any other reason for that name, right?
Right. Well, right, exactly. Yeah. No, it turned out that we got a pretty good deal on it, and it just worked out. You know, we lived on the beach for 2 months. Her new boss found us a spot in an RV park, and so before we had left, we had put an offer in on a house, sight unseen. We had an RV spot lined up to bring our RV to, and she had a job, and I was already making some moves. I've been working with a production company ever since we moved down here, and so we both had some good lines on work and the possibility of a home and stuff like that. Well, it worked. We ended up buying the house. As you can see, I've got garbage just laying everywhere. Yeah, I have not finished my room yet, but this door that I'm pointing to, if you can see that, that's a walk-in closet in this spare bedroom, and I've already turned that into a vocal booth. So it's worked out very well. The other day, I had somebody send me a script, and they were like, we need this done ASAP. Half an hour, turned it around to them. It is so nice having a sound-treated space. It is so nice.
No reverberations, no echoes, just the dampening sound. So that's where you're going to murder people now, right?
No Dexter room in the background.
It's all plastic out.
It's going to be a little bit weird because it's only a 4x4 or 4x4.5, so they're going to have to be standing while I dismember them. It's very unfortunate, but you know, we do what we can.
You do not sit down, sir. You do not sit down.
All right, but boys. So, anyways, we did end up driving down through California. I noticed you just had a route pulled up, Alex.
Yeah, I did. There's 2 pictures. 43-hour drive.
Yeah,
2,934 miles.
We went down to San Diego to visit family. What a huge mistake. I should have just skipped California.
What a huge mistake. I hate people so much.
It was awful. So if you could imagine taking that route and running it down to where it says San Diego and then across Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. We visited family in Texas. And then once we hit Houston, we just traveled along the coastline all the way over to where we are now. The little I don't know what you call it. The top part of Florida, the northern part, is called the Panhandle, and we're about midway. We're in Panama City.
Did you literally just start singing Panama when you started? That's what I would do. I'd be like, Panama.
I did. I actually made up my own song. It was called "Get Me the Fuck Out of Here."
Oh my God! Can you sing us a few bars? That sounds excellent. It's gonna be a hit.
Let me move the mic away from me. That's how it starts.
How have you acclimatized to the weather change? Because I imagine it's a lot warmer where you are now than it was up in Oregon.
I love it. All of my friends were like, "Oh, you're so crazy. It's going to be hot and humid." I'm like, "Yeah, motherfucker. That's why I'm moving there."
Wow. What a bad defense and what a bad reason. Not the defense. What a bad way to attack you for moving somewhere. Fucking, it's going to be hot. What are you going to do about that heat? And you're like, love it. What do you fucking mean? What the fuck are you saying right now?
Your own.
We're on the beach in Florida. Of course it's going to be hot and humid. Like, why else would I go?
I feel like you're Riggs from fucking Lethal Weapon right now. You're just like living on the beach and you fucking gonna have what's his face? That guy. Who's the guy? Fuck, from Lethal Weapon 2. I can't remember his fucking name. Anyways, you're just gonna get like a helicopter attack and shit. And he's like, not the welder. And he fucking drags out. What about your wife? Oh yeah, her too.
Imagine me trying to escape an attack helicopter coming, but I have to bring the slides in first on the motorhome. I'm like, come on. They're just
I should have bought a fucking other car. Oh my God, I want a Bango. And your wife. Oh my God, I love this so much. So when you make a move like that, I mean, obviously there's a lot of like logistic steps you got to fucking think of. I mean, like, how scary is that? Because like the comfort of like your house and everything you've established and growing up somewhere, you really made yourself a nice little spot. And then you decide just to pack it all up and get the fuck out of there.
Mhm.
Like, how scary is that? And how long does that feeling last before you just kind of get the fuck over it and you're like, nope, I'm cool. This is fine.
Well, so as far as having a nice little place with everything we wanted, that was starting to evaporate in Oregon. I was very unhappy. We had junkies shooting up in our front yard,
I remember the last time we spoke to you, somebody in your wife's work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Locked themselves in the bathroom. Yeah.
Our goat house with 5 goats and 5 newborn babies that were a week or so old somehow caught fire. We don't know how. I mean, the odds of a transient trying to come through and hang out in our goat barn to get out of the weather is pretty high. And it burned down and it killed all of our animals. That was kind of the beginning of the end for me. I knew there was some kind of foul play there. And so, I mean, long story short, Tom, it's not scary if you're mad enough. And that's where I was at. I was angry and I was tired of being treated the way we were being treated. And I was tired of looking at people in all these other places that weren't going through what we were going through. The just outrageous expense of living in Oregon. Everything was costing crazy amounts of money. We had no prospect of getting a new home because the home prices were already so overinflated that you just couldn't afford to do anything. Like we gained a bunch of equity in our house. What were we going to do with it? Because everything was too expensive for us to buy, even if we sold our house. So it was a combination of a lot of different things. And I just didn't want to be there anymore. I really didn't. I didn't want to be there anymore. My wife didn't want to be there anymore. And it's sad, of course, leaving friends and family, but most of my extended family, I don't get along with. All my friends, they've been paring themselves down for a long time. When my aunt stopped by and was being shitty and, well, I can't believe you turned your back on your family. I was just like, so sit and spin. And
I can relate to that so much. So much. I mean, we moved to Shrewsbury where I don't have any of my family apart from Kaz's family. And I'm so much happier. I picked on something that made me, like, you talk about house prices and the prices of living and stuff where you were in Oregon. I think it's something that's happening universally because I think in April this year they're throwing up the prices of gas and electricity here in the UK to a point where families are going to dissolve. And everybody's kind of like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, there's literally people that are on sort of very good wages that are just going to really struggle because and then there's people who don't earn as much. They got 3 or 4 kids, and there's nothing that they can do. I mean, you can move. It just seems it's weird that there's universal things going on where it's like, yeah, well, you guys that work hard and earn money to sort of feed your family and make sure they're safe. Well, fuck you. It just seems to be like this terrible thing at the moment. Oh,
we're in a little bit of a unique situation here in the United States because every single state, we don't ever really look at them as their own individual countries. But realistically, I think we should look at them a little bit more that way because now that I've, driven across the country and seen all the different states, it is something that became very apparent. I mean, from the third day we were on the road, because rolling into California, that's like its own little thing, we were taking the Pacific Coast Highway because my wife wanted to do some sightseeing while we were traveling down. We left Oregon and I was like, woohoo, we're in California. This is amazing. Maybe a mile into us hitting California, we hit a checkpoint. They pulled us over, wanted to know what we're bringing into the state. Are we moving here? Are we passing through? Are we vaccinated? Have we had COVID? She wanted me to put my mask on, even though like I'm sitting in my RV and she's nowhere near me. I mean, it was just a lot of like, and I'm sitting here thinking I'm hitting a checkpoint going into a state. And then of course, when we left California, I could see this checkpoint entering California as we were going into Arizona. and it was backed up for miles. And I just thought, wow, that is so bizarre. But once we got away from the West Coast and we started into Arizona and Nevada and all that, New Mexico, it became very apparent that like, oh, we're no longer on the West Coast. There's this mentality, and now that we're out of it, things have completely changed. And getting to the South, especially, it's very different down here. I mean, a lot of people think of the South as being backwards, and I do feel like I could take the clock on Oregon, roll it back 15 years, and that's what North Florida looks like. But it's not in like a regressive way. I mean, the diversity here is so much higher than in Oregon. I had people tell me that I was a racist because I was moving to the South. They're like, that's Trump's land. You're moving down there. And of course I get moved down here, and it's like, I have never seen so much racial diversity in Oregon. Oregon's got like a 2% African-American population. Down here it's 30. And it's just like, why is this area considered so racist when it actually legitimately has all of the diversity that the people in the very white populated areas are complaining about?
It's because of the history, right? Because like obviously when the Civil War happened, like the South were a lot of the ones that were kind of fighting for the fact to keep slavery going. And don't worry, I don't want to get into the politics at all, but like that was over 100 years ago, and this is today. There, you know, it seems like a very silly thing to hold your hat on to, the same exact way they're like, oh, well, fucking, you know, like the Southern rebel flag is racist and all stuff. Like, yeah, because it was like at the time, and or at least now, and whatever, you know, backwards. Like, excuse me, I kind of have that backwards. It wasn't then so much it is now, whatever it might be, the symbol or what the fuck it is. But it's like they can't kind of move on from that point. I've been up and down the East Coast a lot. Like I've traveled down the East Coast a ton, and it changes. Like the topography changes, the you know, everything changes in that way. But like as far as people acting and the way that they like, you know, kind of go about that, it only changes for the better in some ways. Like I find like my Southern family is a lot more welcoming than a lot of my Northern family. Like up here, we're kind of like, oh yeah, let's definitely hang out and stuff. But like when you go down South, they really mean that shit. Like, oh no, come on over. We have like, you know, like everybody in the family come over. We're going to have a huge dinner. Like it's all hang out and stuff. And they really mean that shit. So like that Southern hospitality is a real thing. And it's so confusing to me that people were like really so against you moving. Do you think it's because they really want to keep you there, or it's because they feel shitty that they can't do it and they feel bad that you're doing it?
Well, you're kind of hitting on something there. Who is it? Bob Proctor. He's kind of this famous like business motivational guy. He goes and gives talks at corporate offices where he tells people, you know, you have these mental blocks. These are the things that you need to move past. You know, it's sort of like a self-improvement, self-betterment kind of a thing. But anyways, I was listening to one of his seminars, and he said something really powerful. It's always stuck with me. He said, people who are stuck where they're stuck on their level. If you're on that level too, they don't wish anything bad for you. They just don't want you to leave. Like it's not that they're not your friends, but you might get pushback simply because they can't imagine themselves on any other level than where they are. And so if you start striving for a different or a higher level, again, it's not that they suddenly hate you. It's that they don't want you to leave, and they don't necessarily know how to be supportive. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, Alex, did you find that when you moved, like not saying like your family got shit or anything, but did you find like some of your friends and stuff were really kind of not as positive about the move as you were?
It's one of those things that I kind of relished in a way that's going to sound really weird. Sorry, just uncomfortable. One of the things I was always self-aware of is the fact that I had a massive circle of friends, right? Half of whom didn't give a fuck about me, right? So moving to Shrewsbury was like a cleansing, if you like. So my close friends stuck with me, and I'm speaking to today. The rest of them have gone, and I'm not too fussed about it. So it's kind of like okay, I can start again now. Did you find that, Andy? Have you now got like a new circle of friends? Can you start again slowly and really purposefully create your own group of friends that you're not going to be stuck with for the rest of your life, and because they're fucking idiots? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Whenever I talk about my shitbag car buddies, I mean, my wife just looks at me and goes, if you're calling them shitbag car buddies, maybe you shouldn't have shitbag friends. And of course, she's right. You know,
Yeah. Don't say that too loud. What are you doing?
Well, do you know what he called you when you're not around? He called you shitbag friends.
With love, hon. I mean it with love. Those pieces of shit. It's like, when you say, "Hey, fuck bag," I don't really mean your fuck bag.
Well, Andy, you said you're going to invite me to your barbecue. I didn't think you were going to come here getting insulted. God damn it! I ain't coming here again.
Yeah, dude, for sure. It's been weird. I mean, I had some people that just simply dropped off of the map. I had some people that even came by when we were moving out, like before we had left Oregon. We had a number of friends come by and tell us how wrong we were. And my wife had friends that came and were like, well, I'm not going to chicken out. I'm going to stay and try to make a discernible difference here. And it's just like, good for you. Why are you talking
shit on such a crazy thing to do? Oh, I'm just popping around to say, fuck you.
Yeah,
have a great day.
What discernible difference are they gonna make? Are they in politics? Are they gonna go fucking change some laws, or maybe change some fucking housing shit? Maybe clean up fucking Oregon? What discernible difference are they referring to when they say that? Or are they just saying it so arbitrarily that they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna make a difference"? Oh yeah, how? Well, I don't know yet, but it just means that I'm not gonna leave.
Yeah,
with my mother-in-law, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't really. I did not meet as much trouble as you guys kind of met, but like my mother-in-law's, when we told her we're moving up here, like up north, we're only 2 hours away from where we live, but she's like, oh, you guys won't make it more than a couple years. Been here fucking 6 years now, and we do better up here than we ever did before. And I think that
thanks, man. Let's give me the determination to stay longer. Thanks. Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's that also. That is a huge part of it. That is a monster part of it, because you want to do 10 times better than you did before. But then you don't have the same when you're comfortable. You have like a backup plan, right? You're like, oh, if something happens, I have X, Y, and Z I can fall back on, and I know that right now. When you don't have that backup plan, you have to think of a new backup plan. You have to think of a new way not to fail. And by doing that, I think that helps you succeed more than just staying in the same rut that you were previously. It's an interesting thing. Like I love when people do this. First of all, now I can visit you, Andy, because the West Coast is a really far place to go. I go up and down the East Coast all the time. I love the East Coast. I'm probably never going to move from here. But I like to visit my friends. I went and visited fucking Eric in fucking Florida, and we go down quite a bit. So now and we drive. So I'm like, hey, babe, let's just jot a little bit.
He's going to get you in his walk-in closet to do oral with him.
I'm like, hey, Andy, it's really soundproof in here. You're like, it is, Tom. Totally is. Now squeal. What?
You might show her and Andy's missus downstairs are like, what are they doing up there? They'll be a while yet. Don't worry. Shall I make
welcome to the panhandle, bitch.
Tom, you get to call me Tootsie Pop. Do you know why? You're gonna find out how many licks it takes.
I hope it's a lot. I hope there's a nougaty center too, because it's so delicious.
But hey, just to back you up though, we got a ton of the same stuff. I still am getting messages from people where they're like, "Oh, we saved you a warm spot when you come back to Oregon." I'm not.
No, thanks.
I'm not coming back.
No.
And people, I've had so many people go, "Oh, I could never do that move. I like the Pacific Northwest. I hate everything about the South. I hate everything about that area." And we're going to keep a seat warm for you when you have to move back to Oregon.
That's nice.
And
I don't know. That's so dumb. I guess if they were to say it meaningful, if they were to really truly be nice about the whole situation, maybe that might be different. But the way they're saying it is so shitty.
Yeah. Well, and those people have dropped off. Okay. Well, except for one, actually, I never thought I'd talk to this guy again. He reached out to me the other day and he was like, so how exactly did you decide on the move and make the whole thing happen? Like, how did that all work? Because he didn't come out and say this, but I am going to assume that because he hates Oregon too, but he feels too stuck to do anything. And I have a feeling he's like, well, if that potato head can do it, then why can't I?
Well, it's because you have ambition. That's why you did it. And I think that's kind of something that all three of us have. We have ambition. We don't want to be stuck at the same place that we've always been. We want to better ourselves, whichever way that ends up being, just by a simple thing is not simple, but even as something as big as a move. That is a real ambitious step to make in your life. It's a lot easier than staying, placated or stagnant. Stagnant. That's a better word for it.
I'd like to talk about something that I think is probably going to sound really. This is a show about American culture and understanding of things, right? And before I start into this, right, I want to say that I live one of my favorite places in the whole world, never mind the UK, is one of the most misunderstood cities in the world, and that's Liverpool, right? When you think of a Scouser, someone from Liverpool, they're usually like, "Yeah, I'm a little bit dodgy, mate. I'm going to stab you. I'm going to steal your money." And that was really offensive, and I'm really sorry I did that, but I did that for a reason. I love Liverpool. The people from Liverpool are lovely. I've had a good time every time. One of the best nights out you'll ever have. Like seriously, like I've been struggling down the underground, the Liverpool underground, and with a pram downstairs, and always been offered help. You know, it's genuinely a lovely place, right? So that's always misunderstood. Florida has that same reputation. Andy, did that bother you a little bit, or did you do your research first?
We visited the Gulf Coast. We had the World Food Championships twice when it was here on the Gulf Coast, and we loved it. That's what made us fall in love with this in the first place. Orange Beach, Alabama, Pensacola, and Panama City are actually just like 3.5 hour drive from each other. Like if you were going to start at Orange Beach, Alabama, which is where we fell in love with the Gulf first, to where we ended up, it's less than a 4 hour drive. And so the white sandy beaches, the emerald waters, the warm coastal waters, it's all the same. It just gorgeous, beautiful, unending beaches that are so calm and relaxing to walk on. And then if you've probably, well, I know you haven't, Alex, but if you've never been in the Gulf waters, it's considered like the hot tub of oceans because it's just temperate all the time. And like during the summer, it'll be 80, 90 degrees. During the winter, stays around 60 degrees. One of the fun things that I've learned since we moved here is on these cold days, step out into the Gulf and it'll be 10 or 15 degrees warmer than the ambient air. It's just amazing.
Oh yeah. My mother-in-law lives in Fort Myers, Port Charlotte area.
Oh yeah.
So like before, if you'd been like, "Hey, Tom, Florida," I'd be like, "Yeah, man, Orlando, fucking Orlando's the shit." Which Orlando's fine, you know, it's in Walt Disney World, all the good stuff about Orlando. But then you visit the Gulf. You visit the Gulf of Mexico, and you're like, "Dude, this is the fucking spot to be." It's always beautiful. It's always warm. There's fucking palm trees everywhere.
Fort Myers.
Yeah, Fort Myers, dude. It's Fort Myers. I think it's how far is that from you? That's only like 3 hours away or something, right? If I'm like even less. If I'm
something like that. I haven't learned where everything is just yet, but it's something like that because I'll get this is how I gauge how far I am from things is if I'm looking on Facebook Marketplace and it says other listings nearby. I know I've seen things from Fort Myers, so it's got to be within like 100 miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where exactly are you then, Andy? I'm looking at a map. I can see Tallahassee. I can see Panama City, Gainesville, Rock City, and Jacksonville.
So I am actually in Callaway, Florida. It's been incorporated into Panama City, but if you type in Callaway, Florida, that'll give you the rough idea of where I am.
Is that where the golf company comes from?
Callaway? No, I don't think so. This is little farming community. We're in a neighborhood. It's not very big. It's maybe, 6 city blocks in the middle of a forest and like livestock grazing land, but the lots are huge. We're on a little over an acre. There's an empty acre lot next to us that we're trying to buy right now.
Nice.
Huge house. I mean, our new house is 1,860 square feet. It's gorgeous. Was put up 2 years ago, paid $200,000 for it. So
that's not bad. That's really good, actually.
Yeah, that was a smoking deal. Every contractor or painter I've had through here, because we just had the rest of the house painted. They've all asked me the same thing. They're like, "Well, prices are starting to go up. Would you pay for this?" And I say 200, and they're just like, "Holy shit, you got a smoking deal."
Well, the thing is, like, unlike the rest of the country, when COVID hit, like a lot of like everyone was trying to buy houses at that point, in the housing market like skyrocketed. Like I got my house right before the whole thing kind of went, and I got it for a really good deal. Now my house is worth almost double what I paid for it. And it seemed like in Florida, because of how the rumors of like, COVID was running rampant down here, down there, excuse me, I'm not with you. Like, I feel like your housing market kind of stayed like reasonable Whereas now that people are realizing like, oh, it's not like a fucking plague city or a plague state. People are like, oh shit, let's move back to Florida because it fucking rocks down there. There's a reason they're coming back. It's not because it sucks.
I think there is some of that for sure. Also, the area that we bought in, Hurricane Michael 3 years ago really made a mess of this area. Where we're living now is shielded, but you can still see their trees snapped off from the hurricane coming through, and there was a lot of damage to the city, and a lot of people left, and it drove prices down, but only for a short period of time. It drove prices down for about 2 years. Now prices are starting to skyrocket. We've already gained 10,000 in equity on this place just simply because we moved in.
Your presence made the fucking house worth more. They're like, oh my god, Andy Imhof's here, $10,000 more.
Well, but a house that has been vacant or has been a rental, when a permanent resident purchases it, it automatically increases the value. So, you know, I'm the producer for a real estate podcast. And I remember when I told them that I was going to be moving to Florida, and they were using my in-home studio. And so now we're going to be doing everything remote, unfortunately. But I remember when I told them we're planning on moving to Florida, they were, of course, sad. But both of the realtors said that is the absolute smartest thing you could do, because your money is not going to go anywhere here. If you sold your house, you could put a down payment on something else, but it would be a full lateral move. Maybe not even a lateral move. You might not be able to buy what you have for the money you get for your home. She was just like, Florida's on my radar. She said that whole area right there, it's set to blow up. And so we've had financial advisors tell us the same thing. Again, those realtors, they've all just been like, wow, you're moving at exactly the right time and you're buying at exactly the right time, because the whole area is starting to undergo this massive cleanup. I'm trying to remember, I think it's $200 million that Panama City just got awarded from the state for, relief, rebuild, construction, cleanup, whatever. And so as they start cleaning up more and getting these buildings put back together, get businesses into them, this whole area is just poised to skyrocket. And so that's another thing about this move, is we were doing it to better ourselves financially. And we did. We sold our house. We were able to pay off a bunch of debts, paid off both of our cars. We had a credit card that we had used for our bathroom remodel in our house in Oregon. That's all paid off. My wife paid off some of her private student loans. I had a couple $1,000s in student loans left, and of course we paid that off. We had enough money to put a big down payment down. We still got money in the bank. Like, it was the most solid financial move we could have possibly made, because in Oregon, unfortunately, things were just stagnant.
Now, and you don't have to get in the nitty gritty details of all, but like, did you at least get what you should have for your house? Because obviously, like, the housing market, like you said, was kind of, not where it should be. Did you at least, did you take a hit, or were you kind of like surprised with what you ended up getting for the house when you sold it?
We didn't take a hit, but we did go cheap because we wanted to get it sold. We were thinking that it was going to go up for like $325. We'd bought it for $150, by the way.
Oh, so snap.
We were thinking it was going to go up for $325. We originally listed it for $325. Went for a couple of days like that. And then I just told our realtor, okay, now that it's been up and it's been established, I want to drop this down $299.9. It's going to show that there's a price reduction, and that's going to push it to the top of everybody's list that's looking for homes. And a couple days later, got an offer accepted. Boom, done.
Nice. Very fucking cool.
You got to kind of, could we have gotten more for it? Maybe. Did I want to be paying 2 mortgages while we're traveling across the country? Fuck no. So it was worth more to us to just, drop the price down a little bit, sacrifice some of that money. Because, I mean, realistically, what kind of an offer are we going to get? $310, $315 if we listed at $325. But since we went sub 300, we did that $299.9. That means it went on a lot of other people's radars. It made it more financeable, because 300 is kind of that weird. I mean, financial institutions, they're not going to go off of hard numbers like that, but people generalize what they're able to afford. You get what I'm saying?
there's a reason that when things go on clearance, they go, by 97 cents. That number tells you something. So when you go $299.99, like think about like everything that was sold on TV for the longest time. Be like, 3 easy payments at $39.99. They don't say 40, they say $39.99. Yep. And there's something attractive about that number.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Fucking well, that was a lot of moving talk. Go ahead. No, you haven't been doing a lot.
I was going to say what moving. Obviously, you've got to earn a living and stuff. What opportunities have you got in Panama and around you that you didn't have back in Oregon, job wise?
Well, so there are a lot of independent studios that operate around here, radio, television, that sort of thing.
Really?
Of course, as you guys know, since my car accident, I really can't go back into the engineering field because sitting in a computer for 10 hours a day is just not in the cards for me anymore because, brain injury things. What can you do? And so I really do need to find some other way to make this stuff work. And it was a little bit of a side hobby for me in Oregon, but now I would like to try to make it a more full-time thing. And I think that there are a lot of opportunities to do that. I'm working with a production house down here that has 3 or 4 television shows. I mean, they're on Discovery Channel. They're on the Hunting Channel. They're on the Outdoor Life Channel. And so hooking up with them has been really great. And it's also, I think, probably been beneficial for them because they're able to just send me a text message, literally the owner. He'll just send me a text message and he's like, I need the script turned around. And then I'll go and record it, send it back to him. And that's been really nice. And it's allowed me to make connections with other people, other media spheres that are doing the same thing. I don't know what it is. It was more difficult for me to break into that in Oregon. I'm not really sure why, but when you come to the South, there's a Southern hospitality thing that everybody talks about. And it's true. It's really not what you know, it's who you know. And the more connections you make, the more doors it opens. And people, if they meet you and they like you, they want you to meet the people that they know. You get what I'm saying? So it's been really, really cool, very beneficial. When I talk about opportunities down here, some of that just comes down to the fact that they're not as closed off and closed-minded. They're not as skeptical of their fellow man down here. Like, you have to do something bad before they just assume that you're a shitbag person. In Oregon, I don't know, there's just a very combative feeling there. It's a very combative nature. It's I don't know. People are just, they're not. Tom, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's the
assumption of alternative motives is what everybody kind of has, especially like in that area.
Everybody's suspicious.
Yes, everyone's suspicious. Everyone's like, why are you really doing this? Well, you say you want to do it because you're my friend, but do you really mean that you're doing it because you're my friend? Or are you saying it because you want to fuck my wife? Like, what are you saying right now? And you're like, no, I want to hang out with you because I just want to hang out with you. Like, yeah, sure you do. But surprisingly down south, that's not the way they think. It's not a weird thing. It's a good thing. It's just, it's different than what you were probably used to, I'd imagine, obviously.
Oh, very. I mean, the motto down there is, or over in Oregon is, like a good neighbor, stay over there.
Nice. That's fucking hilarious. I don't know. I do want to, like, I like the area. I like that area. I think it's Peter. Whenever like my friends moved over there, they're like, oh, you'd like it. It's a lot like Vermont. I'm like, well, then why don't I just stay over here? Like, if it's so much like where we live, like, what's the point of even fucking moving? So I can see some redwoods. That's cool. But like, I can do that by visiting, not by moving. I like the area that I'm in. I like the way that I've established myself. A small town, and I think this is something you can agree with, Alex, is when you move to somewhere that's smaller than where you've been, it's easier to make a difference than it was where you're from.
For sure.
Do you think so?
For sure.
Yeah. Like you were before you moved there, you weren't, the Shrewsbury biscuit guy. You weren't the dependable, personality. You've definitely established yourself to be this like very dependable, very interested in your community dude, and
very honest, very attractive,
sexy,
budget minded. Yeah, somebody's needing, like, they say, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Except for when Alex scratches it, they're like, oh fuck, he needs a little bit more than just a scratch back. Like,
if you scratch my back, I'll suck your dick.
Alex, when you take your shirt off and you get oiled up, you got that Jason Statham thing going on, and I'm dying to have one of your full body massages where you use your body instead of your head. I've seen the reviews. Baby oil. That actually is called the Shrewsbury biscuit. Here, you've started that trend.
It did.
I'm a biscuit guy. What does that mean? It means fucking roll over. No, I mean, I know I haven't moved from one side of the country to the other. In fact, the opposite is literally the next 10 pounds. But I think the mindset there means that me and Andy have something in common, really, because you are where you want to be. You love where you are right now because you made that choice, right? And that's the same for Shrewsbury, right? I remember, right? I was walking across Greyfriars Bridge in Shrewsbury. It means nothing to you guys, but it's a beautiful metalwork bridge. And there are locals behind me taking pictures. And I'm like, I've never seen that before. They were enjoying, they loved, they were proud to be where they were. And I've grown up in shit fucking towns where people just don't care. Like, and that to me, it just made me feel proud to be part of that community. So that was one of the big things. You know, I wanted to be there.
To be in Shrewsbury, where at least I know I'm free. And he gets it. That is such an dude. By the way, I went to Fort AP Hill in Virginia in the middle of the summer when I was like 15. I went to the National Boy Scout Jamboree. Really, really cool experience I got to have. And that song played like 30 fucking times over the loudspeakers, and I'm like, I get it. I'm in America. I'm proud to be an American, but motherfucker, I don't need to hear that song every 30 seconds. If
I went on a journey like Andy did, it'd be "Life is a highway, all night long."
Oh, hell yeah! Fucking, how many times you sing Freebird on your travels, Andy? I mean, it's got to be like every other minute. You're just like fucking just traveling down the road. You're like, Freebird's on again, baby. You just start cranking up. Fucking, I can't believe, like, I mean, I obviously I can believe you just really said that, but when you like, let's go back to what you're saying about the checkpoints in California. That's like when people say the word checkpoints, I think about like checkpoints trying to get over the border, right? Like you're trying to go from Mexico to Texas, what have you. It's really sketchy that they would have that going into a different fucking state. Like I don't like what that feel like to be an American and like get stopped by other Americans to be asked those type of questions, like really imposing questions.
Felt like going through fucking Checkpoint Charlie. I was not a fan. Is like as soon as that happened, I called my wife and I was like, I know we're supposed to be in California for 4 days, but let's make it 2 because I do not want to be here any longer than I need to be. The roads were fucking terrible. And let me tell you something. The strangest thing about going from Orange County to LA County, and of course, LA County, oh man, that's Hollywood. I mean, that's rich. That's all the stuff. The
roads are lined with cocaine.
They are. I'm going to California.
The roads, honestly, were like Fallujah after Operation Desert Storm. I mean, they were so fucking bad. They rattled my teeth, even in the motorhome. The homelessness was crazy, out of control. Passed a couple of tent fires on our way through. I was just like, yeah, I mean, this is basically a lateral move, except for everything getting a little bit sunnier and a lot more expensive. We just went from Oregon to a more expensive and a little bit sunnier Oregon.
Does it make sense, like, to you when you travel through California like that, why everyone's trying to move away from California? I mean, not that it wouldn't make sense beforehand. It's not like you're like you never heard anything about it, but like when you travel through that and you see it all like firsthand, does it really kind of click and you're like, dude, this is why everybody wants to leave here?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And we stayed for a couple of days with my sister and brother-in-law, my wife's sister and brother-in-law. Yeah. Basically, they just tried to convince us how amazing California was and how we were making, the wrong move, going to Florida and the West Coast where it's at and blah, blah, blah. And like really hammered it into us to the point where I finally had to tell my brother-in-law, hey, I don't care. I mean, that's fine. It works for you. We're not planning on staying here. So thanks, but no thanks.
Did it seem like they had some real Stockholm syndrome about the whole thing? Like, no, Florida's great. Yeah. Like somebody has like the mayor of the mayor of California's got like a gun poised. I'm like, you say a fucking bad word about California, I'm sniping you out. Like, well, it's weird, right?
From an outside perspective, though, from a Brit looking in, like, when you're a kid, you're thinking, oh yeah, Hollywood, baby, Hollywood Hills. Now I'm looking at, Kevin Smith having to record in other places than California because it's so expensive. People moving away from California because it's so expensive. The shitty sort of two-faced fakeness of it all. It's not even that. All that the crime and stuff is at the bottom of the list. All that stuff is at the top. And that's weird, right? To look at that. And I would definitely, if I was going to move over to America, it would definitely be on the East Coast, not the West.
It would have to be. It would have to be because you're going to go to Hollywood and you're going to probably one of the things that you would do, because I had considered it even, is go and do the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You can do that. You're going to see a lot of used needles stuck in piles of human shit.
Well, it's kind of a good thing that's happening, though, right? I mean, that's not good, and please don't take it like that, but it's a good thing because that means the opportunities that were strictly a California opportunity will now be a universally American thing. Like, you will be able to record in fucking Florida, you'll be able to record in New York, you'll be able to record in fucking Kansas, wherever the fuck you want to be, and it won't be so stationary. Because that was the thing, is like, if you wanted to break out and go and do something in the realm that you two gentlemen kind of move in, you could only go to fucking California for that. Like, if you weren't there, everybody would be like, what are you doing? You got to come over here to do that. Right. Now everyone's kind of expanding out, getting away, so you'll be able to go to a Texas, you'll be able to go where the fuck you want and have that experience.
Well, now I can be an Instagram butt model from basically anywhere.
You're the copper tone kid, a fucking dog's ripping down your bathing suit, and you're like, oh, I can't wait.
Oh shit.
Speaking of you guys, so I've been real tight-lipped about this. Some of my close friends and family know, but I actually caught the Rona, legit caught the Rona, although in the South, for some reason, it's like Rona light. It was a 48-hour flu. I did test positive for the coronavirus. I didn't tell anybody from Oregon because I just knew what the response would be. Oh yeah. Shit, you moved to Florida, you caught fucking COVID, now you're going to die. Congratulations, you're an idiot. But, I mean, it's not. And that's why I knew that would be the response, and that's why I didn't tell anybody. But
it doesn't matter where you are, man. I mean, people are getting it left, right, and center right around me, and I just seem to be immune. Touch wood, right. Everybody's. Even my own wife got it. I lived in the same place with her, slept in the same bed as her, didn't get it. It's such a weird thing.
I'm gonna go make out with you as soon as I get
to the phlegm and whatever. But I had 2 days of fever. I didn't feel very good for maybe a day or two before that. I had 2 days of fever. And then now I'm on the mend. I'm 2 days out from it. I already did a couple of VO jobs. Like, it's, it was not a thing down here. And I do, listen, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but I do have to think that maybe being in the South where I'm getting lots of sunshine probably doesn't hurt my odds either, because I still have friends. I still know people. I have family in Oregon that have recently contracted, what's this one? Omicron or something like that.
Yep.
It lasts a week, 7 days in them. And here we just passed it in 3 days. So I do have to I just kind of have this internal compass that's telling me, like, if I was going to get it, I think this is the right place to get it.
Yeah. And see, the thing is, like, I don't know why we're still okay. So why are we still treating it like it's day one Corona when we are 2 years into Corona? Like, we have a better understanding of like how it gets passed. We have a better understanding of how to treat ourselves. I don't understand why we're still treating it like, oh, you are now a leper for catching Corona. We have the responsibility. Like, I'm sure you weren't like, okay, I got Corona, I'm gonna go and hug and kiss some babies right now. You probably did what everybody else does when they catch it. Stayed home, they quarantined themselves, kept their distance. And then it's back in action. I don't understand why people have that mindset of like, oh, you are now the worst person in the world because you caught this, and stay away from me forever.
Obviously, you weren't following the rules.
You were obviously licking.
That's like human nature, though, isn't it? I mean, like, look at the AIDS pandemic. Like, what did people do? They were the most. Nobody showed any empathy or sympathy towards anybody that contracted AIDS during the AIDS pandemic. It was like, fuck you, you're going to die. See you later.
Yeah,
nobody wanted to like be near anybody.
Like, you were probably fucking needles, weren't you? That's why you caught the AIDS. You were fucking needles, and you were licking the homosexuals, weren't you? You're like, no.
The Hollywood Walk of Fame. There were needles stuck in human pieces of shit, and you were eating it like Pac-Man, weren't you? You dirty one. Yeah,
I would have blamed it everywhere else. But like, dude, I must have caught the Rona when I traveled through California. Fucking, that's what happened. Fucking, I was fine.
Yeah,
there's a huge load of shit going on in America and in the UK at the moment with Boris Johnson, because it's being announced, or it's been found out that they've been having wine parties on Fridays in Downing Street whilst they were telling everybody to stay at home. And it's caused a fucking huge, honestly, even like Tory supporters are like, what the fuck? There were nurses sleeping in corridors, people dying in corridors, people who couldn't go to funerals of loved ones, people couldn't get married, people couldn't do this, that, and the other. Whilst in Downing Street, they were like, oh, this is a nice wine, isn't it? And cheese and crackers. Fuck the general public. We are who we are. And it's just nuts, isn't it? Like, you're talking, Tom, about why do we behave the way we do when it comes to COVID. I feel like it's because we're told to. It's kind of encouraged to be that way, and that's because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not at all, genuinely not, and that usually comes with a conspiracy. But I do feel like we're told these things to keep us in line a little
bit. I'm not a racist, but
yeah. I really am not a conspiracy theorist at all. I really am not. But like, it just feels like it just makes it easier if people are scared.
Well, I don't like what they're kind of preaching right this second. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. We should all stay safe, right? Like, that's first and foremost. Please, anyone that's listening right now, don't take this as we're not saying be safe. Let's be safe. Let's be responsible. But the thing is, like, my kids ask me like almost every week, when can I get the vaccine? I'm like, I don't know if I want you to get the vaccine yet. Like, there's really no children dying from corona, and I don't think I want to give you anything that you're supposed to have. When I got the vaccine, like, don't get wrong, me and the wife got it. She's in the healthcare field, and obviously, like, I got to go and do my job. I don't want to not work, so I'll get it. I don't really care. Like, I'll do what they would call the responsible thing. I'll do the thing that is asked of me because that's who I am. I'm placating. But like, my kids, on the other hand, like, I don't want them to have the migraine that I had to have. I don't want them to have the fucking fever that I have. And if they were saying, oh, without the vaccine, kids are dying every single fucking second of every single day, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, let's get that vaccine. But they've done such a good job indoctrinating the fact that we should get the vaccine that now my kids literally ask me all the time, when can I get it? I'm like, I don't know if I want you to have it. I don't know.
That's actually like legitimately scary. That
it is.
Your children are so indoctrinated that they're coming to ask you when they can get it. That's pretty freaky, actually. And I'm not anti-vax or anything. I haven't gotten the vaccine because I have trouble with mRNA vaccines. Yeah. I've been through this many times. Flu shots, those are mRNA. I haven't had one since 5 years ago. I had a super bad reaction, ended up in the hospital. So mRNA vaccines, I don't do it. But beyond that, this has just gotten way too politicized. It's gotten weird, especially considering the statistics for coronavirus. And I mean, look, I know people who've passed away from it. I understand that. But let's see here. What's it been? 7 years ago? I had a grandparent die of the flu. It turned into pneumonia and they passed away. And I'm not saying that this is the flu. I'm just saying I agree with you. There's a lot of fuckery going on. And just like you were saying, Alex, we have a lot of public figures here, government officials that are very do as I say, not as I do. I'm telling you, you have to lose your job. You have to shut down your small business. Meanwhile, I'm going to go to the French Laundry and have a fun dinner with 100 of my friends.
Hypocrisy. Thy name is rich.
It's hypocrisy of the highest order.
Let's get your hands off my penis.
let's get the fuck out. Let's not get out of here the show. But we got like 15 minutes left. Alex wanted to do something else. Let's get out of the fucking downward spiral. Let's peak it up a little bit. Alex, I
was about to go and start talking about Russia and Ukraine. So yeah, okay. So I asked a couple of people. We only got 2 responses because I only very quickly put it up. But I want to talk about our first cars because obviously you're from the Horsepower Hour. Are you still recording, or have you taken a bit of a break while you moved? Are you still recording the podcast?
We're recording. It's been sporadic, unfortunately.
Of course, yeah.
Just the move, painting the house, Rona. I actually sprained my ankle a couple of weeks ago too. So there's been some weird stuff here.
I'm shaking my head because he's like, I've fucked my wrist up. I've broken my wrist. I got the corona. Like
everyone in Oregon's like, you never would have sprained your fucking ankle if you didn't move, Andy. It's all your fault, I guess.
That's why they're so pissed off when he left, because the hospital's like, well, who the fuck's going to pay us? Like,
but I will also say since we've moved down here. And not that it's been particularly hot and humid. I certainly have not been uncomfortable, but I've lost 15 pounds. I think between just the climate change to something that suits me better and the de-stressing. It is so fucking stressful living in Oregon. You're in constant fear of everything. You're in constant fear of, having your friends cancel you from your friend group. You're in constant fear of what new mandates are going to come through. You're in constant fear of, having your business checked in on. It just, it was a lot of shit like that. I mean, I know people who had their home businesses, I don't want to say raided, but the sheriff's office came around with a health department person. They were like, hey, are you operating correctly? And one of them wasn't and lost their business. So, there's just getting out of that scenario has been very good for my body, I think. Finally down right at 250. I mean, that's still fat. But it's not as fat as it was.
Congratulations. It's good to hear.
But anyways, first cars, right?
First cars. Well, so first of all, I'll go to the comments. We'll talk to the comments. Andy, what was your first car? So what I'll do is I'll find a picture of it. The first car you ever bought. I think we've probably done this before.
We did, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong with going over stuff, especially when it's a fun topic like first cars. It's very American.
1993 Mazda Protege, green.
Yes.
Mazda.
Now, is that the rotary motor engine, or is that just like a standard?
The Protege was their four-door. If you took a 1993, any Honda, any Toyota, any Mazda, that's a four-door Econo box sedan, they all look nearly identical.
Car racism. I talked to Alex about this when I started. Car racism.
Why do we still have master cylinders and slave cylinders?
Oh my God! Horrible. That's hilarious.
Right, so Ryan Berger, who's a big time fan of the show. Hold on, let me just upload this. Ryan Berger, we love you. He said he had a 95 Pontiac Grand Prix, which I believe
nice.
Which is this it?
Yeah, look at that bitch. She's so 95. Sexy.
He said the wires in the steering wheel that controlled the stereo were funky, and sometimes when you turn the wheel to go around the corner, the stereo would turn itself down.
That's fucking amazing.
Love it.
Jane Pickworth, who's been joining us on our live shows. I love you, Jane, very much. She said she had over in the UK, we have our registrations by numbers, and she's letters, and she said she had an E-Reg Ford Escort. She's like,
nice. My dad had one of those, like not obviously that, but like he had a Ford Escort. It was a standard. It was blue. And that was the first car I ever learned how to stall because I was like 11, 10 years old. And I tried stealing my dad's car and I didn't know how to drive standard. So I got it to back up and it jolted. And I learned I didn't know how to drive standard. That's the car.
I like the old rally Ford Escort. They're pretty cool.
Dude, well, that's the funny thing, right? Like, because they always make a really great version of shit. And like, you might see that Ford Escort and be like, ew. But then you'll see like the other, like the Rally Edition, or like they had a Rally Edition Beetle that my principal of our school, like the head principal, because I'll be like, look at that stupid fucking Beetle. And then you hear go, what? And you're like, oh shit. Like she had it fucking maxed down.
Yeah, man. They're pretty cool. I'll find a picture of one of them. But my first car was a 2003 because I started driving at 30. A 2003 Renault Clio.
Wow.
That's what I learned to drive in pretty much until it died. And then I went to my Pug, my favorite. I love my Pug.
Standard or automatic?
That's automatic. I drive an automatic because moving from Telford to Shrewsbury, I had to drive to work. So I was like, fuck, I've got like 10 months a year to learn to drive before I moved to Shrewsbury. And I did it. But it's the quickest way to learn to drive.
I don't know when it changed, and Andy, you can probably agree with this, but like when we were growing up, it was actually like a rite of passage to know how to drive standard. And I don't think that's really a thing that people care about anymore. Everybody just wants ease.
Well, it's not standard anymore. That's the thing. They call it a standard transmission, but it's really not. I mean, back when they called it the standard transmission, that's because it came with a manual. And if you wanted the automatic, you had to pay a little bit more for it. Now everything is reversed. If you want a manual transmission, good fucking luck, especially with modern performance cars, because they're all dual clutch, automatic shift, beefy. hybrid transmissions, I guess you could say. I mean, they're not exactly automatic,
Floppy
but they're not
pedals.
exactly manual either.
Yeah, the little floppy thing.
So BMW, their dual clutch gearboxes with the flappy paddles, those actually are a manual transmission, but they have the electronics that shift them. And so if you need to replace your transmission in like an E46 M3, you can get one of the quote unquote dual clutch gearboxes, and it's exactly the same as the manual. Not every transmission's that way, but a lot of them are. But no, I agree with you, Tom. It was like a rite of passage, because back when we were kids, I mean, most cars were still manual, or at least available in a manual. And if you didn't know how to drive a manual, then you weren't going to be able to drive. Nowadays,
it's one of the things that you hear in movies all the time. You don't know how to drive stick.
Well, it's because like your friends would be in the car with you, and like if you missed the shift, or you fucking like or you clutched too early or something, like people made fun of you, like you were a bad you were a bad driver at that point. They're like, ew, you fucking, like, you don't have the timing right, like you don't have the feel for your car. Get out of the fucking driver's seat before you destroy your transmission. It was a thing. It's not a thing anymore. Now, like, my kids could drive my fucking car. Like, you don't need to have the. Yeah, look at that.
That's a Mark 1 Escort. That's a Mark 1 Escort rally car. That is beautiful.
That's Mustang. Like, dude, I drive that fucking thing. That thing's beautiful. Like, I like the curvature. It's got like this nice combination of like the hard edges with the rounds, and that's something that like I like. The 90s cars were not really pretty. A few of them got it right. Like the 3000 GT was a really pretty car, but like a lot of them, they were doing like this weird like really too rounded edge for their fucking thing, and it just wasn't appealing. I'm glad that like cars now really have like sharp edges. Even like my Chevy Traverse, like the mirrors are just like, you know, like a blade and shit. It's really pretty.
Tom's first car was what was this again?
Yes, it was Nissan Quest van, and I loved it because I took out the middle seat. I didn't have the moonroof or anything cool like that. But yeah, I used to like get like 10 of my friends in the fucking car. We just drive around taking bong hits and shit. That was the mode. I fucking love that thing.
It reminds me of Not Another Teen Movie. Road trip. Yes. And you go to the next house. House party.
And I've told you, Tom, ironically, your car out of all your buddies' cars probably had the most performance capability, I guess you might say. And to your point, I mean, I've never seen a Nissan Quest performance version, but you know, Alex, like your Clio, that had a performance version. The
sports, the 16V sports version, yeah.
Oh, we'll also look up the Clio V6.
They had a V6?
Yeah, they did a limited run Clio V6 where it was a mid-engine car, and there's actually a cup race. It's called the Clio Cup Race.
Yes, there is, yeah.
And that was pretty mean. Same with the Ford Escort. Even the Mazda Protege had, you know, performance versions in other countries. Like the Protege was called the Familia in Japan, and the Familia came in turbo all-wheel drive. In America, all we got was the front wheel drive version.
Oh, of course.
In the UK, it's all about like these tiny little cars.
Oh shit! I drive that. Terrible. Dude, I drive that fucking thing. That thing's badass.
Sorry about
that. Yeah, and that's quick too.
A really good example of this is like the Dodge Omni. The Dodge Omni back in like the late 80s, it was like this little itty bitty car. I didn't have one, but they had a turbo version of it that was
the GLH. Do you know what that stands for?
Go like hell.
Go like hell, baby.
Go like hell, baby. Fucking, it's fast as like my buddy took me for riding that thing. Dude, it was
hell, baby.
Fast. It was fast, man. Like I've had very few cars that throw me back, dude. And he had that thing like just pimped right the fuck out. I went. I was like, oh shit. But show him my other car. My other car, like everyone made fun of me. Like all my friends made fun of me. But I had more fun driving my second car than I did any other car. Period. It didn't look like that. But it's same body shape, same everything. It was the 1993 Ford Thunderbird. It had a 5.0 high output motor, the same motor as the fucking Mustang. It was rear wheel drive, dude. Fucking that thing, like I could kick the ass end out and just fucking like Tokyo drift my way up hills every single day. I loved that car, and it was the fastest grocery getter I've ever driven in my life.
Yeah. I mean, where we are now, we've hopefully kind of moved on a bit more successful, and we've gone and bought different cars. We've you know, Tom, you've had loads of different cars. Yeah, that first car though has a special place, doesn't it? You know, where you will never be able to replace your first car. Like, well, it's just a nice feeling. Andy, did you have a huge car collection you had to get rid of before you moved down?
Actually, I had already been kind of working on paring things down, and so we just had our 2 vehicles.
What?
Yeah, let's see here. I parted out. I parted out my last race car. That had been a multi-year process, and then I'm trying to think. A buddy of mine came and got the 1940 Chevy Coupe project. Another friend of mine came and got his Volkswagen Pan. It was just the Pan and some associated components. I mean, it was stuff that we were kind of building together. But I just told him, hey, I'm not keeping this stuff. I don't want to sell it out from underneath you or anything like that. So why don't you just go ahead and take it? And those went to their respective new places to sit and rot instead of on my property.
On a quick thing, what's one car that you've always wanted? Let's end with that because we are running very, very close on time. Alex, what's the one car that you've always wanted? It doesn't matter how ridiculous it was. What's the car that you've always wanted?
Weirdly, because I used to love my rallying games, was Lancia Delta. I know I can't drive stick or anything, but like it's one of those cars that I just, especially in the rally get up. I'll try and find a picture of it. The Lancia Delta.
Please do, because I don't know what that is. Obviously, Andy does. I don't know what he's saying right now. So I mean,
find it. Keep going.
Andy, what about you? What's one car that you've always wanted?
So I have a real affinity for 80s turbo shit boxes. I don't know what my problem is. It's probably because of the brain injury, but I want a second generation Toyota or a second generation Mitsubishi Starion. Real bad, because they're so quintessentially, classic 80s Japanese muscle car, and I've always loved the way they look. I would just buy one and put like a Chevy V8 in it because I know that the engine's not going to be. Oh yeah, there you go. Raleigh.
Because when you say Lancer, like I think of Lancer. That's all I think about. Like when I hear Lancia, I think of Lancer. Fucking like that's what I think about.
Dominated the Rally World Championship for a couple of years.
I would like that. That's a pretty dope car. I mean, like I'd never be able to afford it. But especially like I've just always wanted one was the Ford GT. I've wanted a fucking Ford GT or a Dodge Viper my entire fucking life. They're just
you suck the dick for gas money on corners.
I do. Fucking the Dodge Viper is just one of the dude. Oh no, don't bring up the sad. Fucking the Dodge Viper is like the one of the meanest cars they ever made American. Like it is a race car that they sold for the streets, and it was just nuts. It was beautiful, even back in the 90s. Like it was the most beautiful car that I've ever seen in my life, and I just $90,000. That's all I need. $90,000.
Not for a used one, bro. I mean, you can get a first generation Dodge Viper. I don't want to call it cheap, but no. I mean, 30,000 can get you a pretty clean example.
Really? Like right now, I talk date night cars with the wife because we want something kind of sporty, flashy that we can drive on dates and shit. And right now we're thinking about Pontiac Solstice. It's like $9,000. It's cheap. It's fucking convertible. It's, you can get them standard. It's cool and all. But like a Dodge Viper for $30,000, pretty dope. And then I'd be like, no, don't look at my car.
Dodge Vipers remind me of the Nutty Professor. He changes back and he gets stuck in the car. He has to get it's crazy. One of the cars I did fall in love with because I parked my little 206. Remember that, Tom? That car I used to have. Yes. I parked it next to a Ram Runner. And weirdly, I mean, like you very rarely see Ram Runners in the UK, but one parked next to me. And it was like 3 times the size of my car, but it was beautiful. And I stood up. I remember like the bonnet comes up to like here. I was like, "Fuck, Jesus Christ, this thing's huge." But like, oh, yeah, I'd love a Ram Runner, just so I could be like, I am king now. Nobody else drives on the road but me. Move.
I'll just roll over the top. No problem.
Like Moses part in the Red Sea, just like fucking move out the way. I'll run you over. Oh gosh. Andy, what plans have you got for Horsepower Hour? Then so obviously things are sporadic at the moment. You're moving out and stuff like that. Have you got anything that you want to sort of tell the listeners that you're getting ready for?
We've got some really great guests coming up. We're going to be talking to the marketing team for Fortune Auto Suspension. We're going to be talking to more performance shops down here because obviously in the South, automotive performance is a bigger thing than it was in Oregon, at least for the last couple of years, with the Rona lockdowns and everything. And so we're going to be doing a lot more events. We're going to be going racing. We're going to have tons of special guests, and I would appreciate it if everybody kind of kept apprised of that. Over at facebook.com/the horsepower hours, where you're going to find the shows, the podcasts, whenever we're doing them live. Again, kind of sporadic with the lives, but they're always going out in podcast form. People can just go out, if they're listening to your podcast, they can just type in the Horsepower Hour and find our show and go and check that out. And hopefully they find something fun and entertaining. We try to bring the funny. We try to bring lots of informative automotive talk. And speaking of talk, maybe they should come and check out my TikTok. It's _horsepower_hour. And it's doing pretty good. A couple of my little TikToks have 100,000 views.
Wow.
We've got maybe 1,500 followers. I started it a couple weeks ago, and I'm just putting fun car shit up there, fun facts, funny memes. I did a skit the other day that was not very well accepted because I think very few people understand. But if you ever worked in an automotive field, you will very much understand this little eyes and mouth skit that me and my cousin put together. So, just come and check that out. We're having a good time, and we're just trying to kind of keep it going. It's still a hobby for me. We had a sponsor last year. They were an Oregon sponsor. We've of course moved. We loved them. We left on good terms, but we're back. Just kind of trying to get things sorted out and figured out. You can see sound panels over my right shoulder here that still need to go up on the wall. So I apologize for the poor audio quality you're getting from me.
You're horrible, Andy. How dare you come on the show in your unfinished room, you piece of shit.
We did an interview with Ant McGinley last week where StreamYard were like, yeah, yo, fuck your mixer. We're going to use your laptop speaker. And I didn't realize till the end.
Oh, no.
It's the worst thing ever. So I was like, I've been fucking around with the audio. It's why it's late. I was editing it to get it out for Friday. And I was like, I'm just gonna fucking release it as is. There's no point in fucking around because I'm literally, I sound like this, it's fucking terrible. But hey, these things happen. And we are working hard actually. Between me, my wife Kaz, and Tom to try and build up our guests. At the moment, we're trying to get loads because it's been a slow start for USUK. We're back and stuff, but we're kind of just trying to find our feet a little bit. And it's nice just to revisit old friends, bring people back, and have some nice conversations. It's nice to see that you found happiness, my friend. It really is.
Yes.
Like you've been on this tremendous journey, and it seems like you are just out there to just do some great things now because you've got this positive mindset. You've lost a bit of weight, and you're in the Florida, baby. And it's in the sun, and it's nice to see. It really is.
It is nice to see. It's a beautiful thing.
There's nothing that lifts your spirits more than walking out onto those white sugar sand beaches and dipping your toes in the water. I mean, it's just been transformational for me. I mean, honestly. But hey, I appreciate you guys for having me on. You, of course, are doing big things. I always love it. Sorry for the low energy listeners, but again, I did have the Rona like 2 days ago, so
it's true.
I hope you blame me, not the boys.
Oh my God! It's a good thing no one important is listening to this right now. Because like now you're going to catch the COVID from remote recording. It goes to the microphones. It's a virus.
My buddy's a financial advisor, and he had a virtual conference with a woman. She comes on with a mask, and he's like, "Hey, you doing okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, but I tested positive for COVID. I don't know if you still want to have the meeting." And he was just like, "We're on Zoom. I think it's okay."
Yeah, that's okay.
There's so many people thinking that mask, like that's bizarre in itself, wearing a mask and a Zoom call, but like people are still thinking that the masks protect them. I've seen so many people like really protectively wearing masks. I'm like, are you okay? Have you? Do your eyes work? Have you been around for the last 2 years? Like, what the fuck? Like, but anyway, we'll end this on a positive. Andy, did you know that Thor Skin podcast is back?
No, what?
Yes, every Wednesday. The Wednesday night live show has been replaced by Thor Skin podcast. We're doing it live every Wednesday with myself, Moose Cooper, and with David over there in California. And it's basically it's so much fun. We've got the return of Butchug Island. Don't know if we played that with you, Andy. It's basically it's an island with a one-way portal, so you can throw whatever you like there, and we debate which ones go. So far, there's 3 more things been put on there, but so far, to start off, we had clowns, Boris Johnson, Justin Bieber, y'all, and Amazon, because David hates.
Yeah, he does. He hates what's his, but he's never been involved. Anyways, yeah. Fuck, we don't get that.
We've also got LED lights, car LED lights. David had a cold, so he threw his cold in there, and Moose hated his wife's cuddly sloth. So yeah, they're the things that it's just fun. Anyway, guys, you can tune in every.
Go ahead and add haunted like porcelain dolls on there.
Yeah. We'll throw them.
Any haunted item. Where people talk about like, oh, we kept this in our house and then everybody died, and so I sold it on eBay. We stopped
like the welder you brought with you from Oregon. That's haunted, I heard.
Yeah, it's true.
I keep it for its spiritual value. You can catch those Skin Guys live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. We also have a website, don't we, Tom?
We have a website. That means we're better than you. No, it doesn't. This means we have a website where we can put things on. It's USUKnetwork.com. It is a fun fucking time, guys. We upload all of our stuff that we do on there. We have past episodes. We have new Thor Skin on there. It's a great fucking time. And if you like the way our website looks, you don't thank us. Don't give us credit for it. Give the credit to the good people at WebWatch.com. WebWatch.com, guys, they are a website building company. That's what they do. They will make you a fantastic website, whether you are selling, your pubic hairs or your farts, or if you're just trying to upload some good content to entertain the masses. Reach out to the people over at WebWatch.com. They're going to build you a fantastic and functional website.
Yeah, amazing. Sure. I'm going to go have dinner with my family because it's Sunday. That's what you do. Andy, thank you so much for joining us. Tom,
gentlemen, thank you so much. We appreciate you very, very much, and I look forward to everything you got going on. I mean, you guys are seriously crushing it. So thank you.
When you're a bit more settled, Andy, you're coming back on, all right? Talk to us about how life is for you in a few months' time.
Yes.
Right.
That would be wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen.
With his TikTok superstardom. Let's get the fuck out of here.
This has been USUK. I've been Alex Whiteley.
I'm Tom Bruno.
And I'm Andy from the Horsepower Hour.
Yes.
Nice.
All right, listen up, Spuds. This is Zach Brannigan, master of time, space, and everything else in between. And, winner of this year's Modesty Award. You're listening to USUK with Al and Tom. Your one stop for this sort of thing.